As autumn deepens in the Northern Hemisphere and sunlight hours are shortening, casting longer shadows and reducing our daily exposure to the sun's vital rays. This seasonal shift, it's a reminder that sunlight plays a crucial role in our health, often downplayed by the mainstream narratives focused on its dangers. We're starting with a fresh discovery that's shaking up how we think about vitamin D supplements. Researchers at the University of Surrey in the UK just published a meta analysis showing that taking vitamin D2, the plant based kind often found in vegan supplements, can actually lower the levels of vitamin D3, the more powerful form your body makes from sunlight or gets from foods like fish. It's a reminder that not all supplements are created equal, and it might explain why some people don't feel the full benefits, especially as we head into darker months. During this podcast, we'll unpack this finding, explore vitamin D's basics and history, its real world perks like boosting your immune system and mood, and even hear from Dr. Roger Schelt on why sunlight is more than just vitamin D factory. We'll also cover safe dosing tips, including why pairing vitamin D with vitamin K matters, and dispel some myths about overdose fears and sun dangers. Vitamin D is special. Your skin makes most of it when sunlight hits it, acting more like a hormone than your typical vitamin from food. There are two main types: D3, the star player from sun exposure or animal sources like salmon and eggs, and D2 from plants and mushrooms, which is handy for vegans, but not always as effective. Your body turns it into a usable form that helps absorb calcium for strong bones and teeth, keeps muscles steady, and it supports your immune defenses. Without enough, you might feel tired, get sick more often, or face bigger issues like weak bone. Sadly, up to 50% of us in temperate regions are short on it these days, thanks to office jobs, sunscreen, and those long winter nights, contributing to risks like weakened bones, autoimmune issues, and even heart problems, all largely preventable with simple tweaks. Our bodies evolved to thrive on abundant sunlight. Our ancestors spent their days outdoors, naturally producing ample vitamin D through skin exposure. But modern indoor lifestyles with heavy clothing and screen time deprive us of that vital connection, leaving many deficient without realizing it. To see why vitamin D matters so much, let's rewind a bit. Back in the early 1900s, cities like London and New York were hit hard by rickets, a painful condition that bent kids' legs, softened their skulls, and made simple play impossible. Parents were desperate, blaming everything from dirty milk to factory smoke. Then came the breakthroughs. In 1919, scientists at Johns Hopkins found that cod liver oil fixed it in test animals, naming the cure vitamin D. Soon after, in 1924, a researcher named Harry Steenbach figured out how to add it to milk using UV light, slashing ricket cases by the 1930s. And in 1928, chemist Adolf Windaust nailed down its exact makeup, winning a Nobel Prize for it. Fast forward. Programs fortifying everyday foods like milk, margarine, and cereals with vitamin D became standard across many countries by the mid-20th century, turning nutrient-scarce diets into reliable sources of this essential compound. Take Finland as a standout example. In a land of long, dark winters where sunlight is scarce for months, the government rolled out voluntary food fortification in 2003, and by 2010 and 11 recommended year-round supplementation for the entire population. 10 micrograms or about 400 IU daily for all ages, easily met through fortified staples or drops for kids. The results? Dramatic. Before these measures, about one third of Finns had suboptimal vitamin D levels, leaving them vulnerable to bone issues and immune dips. Post program, deficiency rates plummeted to around 5%, with sufficiency soaring to over 90%. A massive public health turnaround that slashed ricket cases and boosted overall wellness without needing widespread testing. It's a story of science turning heartbreak into hope. Those early wins against rickets not only saved a generation of children from painful deformities, but still saves lives today, quietly preventing fractures, infections, and chronic woes in millions worldwide. Vitamin D isn't just about bones. Though it teams up with calcium to keep them tough and cuts fall risks by nearly 20% in older folks who take it regularly. It also revs up your immune cells to fight off bugs, eases mood dips like those winter blues, and might even lower chances of type 2 diabetes if you're at risk. As a fat soluble hormone, it tweaks calcium uses, fires up immune cells with receptors all over them, and even influences how your genes turn on and off in different tissues. On infections, including COVID 19, studies show it shines. A 2024 review of trials linked supplements to fewer cases and hospital stays, especially for those starting low, up to a 70% drop in respiratory illness, thanks to its calming effects on inflammation. Globally, half the world deal with low levels, hit hard by indoor habits, air conditioning, cooled rooms, and for darker skin tones, or far north winters where ultraviolet B radiation, or UVB rays, barely show up, like in the UK. For kids, it stops rickets in its tracks. For everyone else, it keeps you moving without aches and pains. The sun offers the most natural, cost free way. Just step outside and expose as much skin as possible, your arms, your legs, and your face for 5 to 10 minutes midday without sunscreen. This triggers the skin's production of vitamin D3, the most bioavailable form. Even a quick hit like that can spike levels significantly. In contrast, the common advice at beaches to just slather on sunscreen to block cancer causing rays, it overlooks this benefit. While excessive burning exposure does heighten skin cancer risk, sensible sun time doesn't. In fact, research shows that regular, moderate sunlight correlates with lower overall cancer mortality and healthier skin outcomes, as vitamin D helps regulate cell growth and repair DNA damage. Common sense applies. Build tolerance gradually, avoid peak hours if fair skinned, but the sun isn't the villain it's made out to be. It's how our bodies were designed to thrive. Get it from those sun sessions or foods like fatty fish and UVA zapped mushrooms. Supplements, the basics are 600 international unit or IU a day, but aim for 1,000, 2,000 IU to stay steady. If you're low, 2,000 to 5,000 IU can fix it fast, and some say 4,000, 6,000 IU gets you to the ideal blood levels. Take them with a meal since it's fat soluble, and while overdose can spike calcium levels uncomfortably, it's rare. Get a blood check first. But vitamin D alone isn't always enough. Pair it with vitamin K2, often labeled as vitamin DK, to ensure proper absorption and direct calcium to bones rather than to the arteries. Researcher backs 2000 IU for vitamin D daily for cutting risks on things like rheumatoid arthritis or Crohn's disease. But remember, vitamin D is just one perk of the sun, not the whole story. While supplements can effectively raise your vitamin D levels, they don't replicate the full spectrum of the sunlight's benefits. For instance, clinical trials have shown they don't offer the same level of protection against severe COVID 19 as natural sun exposure does. Now, let's go deeper on sunlight's magic, drawing straight from Dr. Roger Seholt's perspective. As the co founder of MedCram and a lung and critical care expert, Seholt doesn't just see vitamin D as sunlight dispenser. He calls it a full body powerhouse that modern life has us ignoring, much to our peril. Sure, those UVB rays kickstart D3 in production in your skin, but that's just the tip. The real game changer, the infrared light bundled in with it, the red wavelengths that sink up to 8 centimeters deep into your body, hitting your cells' energy hubs, the mitochondria. Think of the mitochondria as the tiny engines in every cell, cranking out the fuel, ATP, that powers everything from thinking to walking. However, as we age, production can drop up to 70% in old age, contributing to symptoms like fatigue and chronic inflammation, while also raising the risks of diseases such as dementia, heart disease, and diabetes. Infrared light acts like a tune up for these mitochondrial engines, enhancing their energy production while also stimulating the creation of melatonin directly within them. This local melatonin serves as a protective antioxidant to counter the oxidative stress generated during that energy boost. This isn't the nighttime sleep aid, it's a built in coolant that soaks up the heat and junk from energy production, keeping things running smooth and slashing oxidative stress. Seheld explains it plainly. He says, infrared radiation from the sun interacts with mitochondria, generating energy but also creating oxidative stress. Fortunately, infrared radiation can also stimulate the production of melatonin within mitochondria, acting as a cooling system and an antioxidant that prevents oxidative stress, hence improving their energy output. Those are some really smart, wise words. Sunlight spectrum from UVB for vitamin D production to far infrared improves blood sugar control, stimulates collagen for firmer skin via these specialized cells called fibroblasts, and boosts overall energy. In green spaces, trees reflect extra infrared, making forest walks even more beneficial. Hospitals show the impact too. Patients with a window view recover faster, and older designs featured open air verandas aimed for 15 to 20 minutes outdoor dailies to speed healing. It ties into your inner clock and mood. Catch morning or evening sun when it's lower and gentler on UV for max infrared with less burn risk. When the sunlight hits your eyes to sync rhythms, lighting up brain spots to fend off depression. Just 15 minutes of direct sunlight does the trick. Cloudy? Still better outdoors and stuck inside. Clouds filter infrared, but not as much as walls do. For alternatives, when sunlight is scarce, red light devices like panels or masks can mimic the infrared benefits. Just 15 minutes of use may help stabilize blood sugar spikes and even sharpen your vision. Incandescent bulbs offer broader, more natural light spectrums than these harsh LEDs, providing a gentler overall glow. Seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, lamps are great for lifting mood and resetting your internal clock, but they miss out on sunlight's deeper cellular perks. Make the most of it all, balance with truly dark nights. Ditch your screens and blue light entirely so your body can fully produce melatonin and sustain those protective antioxidants. This isn't theory, it's backed by stories and data. Take Henry's tale from 2024. A 15-year-old leukemia fighter, post lung removal and battling fungal infection. He bounced back 70% in days with daily outdoor time plus steady red light therapy. His white blood cell count dropped dramatically, and his dependence on supplemental oxygen completely resolved. He went from struggling to breathe on his own to doing so independently, and he was discharged cancer free with no changes to his medications. It was all thanks to the immune boosting power of sunlight and red light therapy. COVID patterns align with sunlight's protective role. Regions with greater sun exposure experience milder outbreaks and lower mortality rates, as seen in Northern Europe's early 2020 surge and an Edinburgh led analysis that linked higher ambient ultraviolet A radiation to reduced COVID 19 deaths in sunnier areas of the US, England, and Italy. Affects independent vitamin D levels alone. A 20-year Swedish study tracking nearly 30,000 women found that those with the most active sun exposure had the lowest rates of cancer and cardiovascular deaths, while avoiding the sun carried risks comparable to smoking. And a UK biobank analysis of 300,000 participants revealed that higher ultraviolet exposure, or solarium use, correlated with fewer overall deaths and non skin cancer fatalities, without any uptake in melanoma cases, challenging the idea that the sun exposure is inherently harmful. In a Brazilian trial, COVID 19 patients treated with infrared LED jackets for just 15 minutes daily saw hospital stays shorten by about 4 days, alongside improvements in oxygen levels and vital signs. One striking case: a patient reliant on maximum supplemental oxygen reduced to 0 in 5 days after daily porch sessions. The Green Heart Project in Louisville further highlights nature's synergy with light. Planting 8,000 trees in urban neighborhoods lowered inflammation markers 13 to 20%, translating to a 10 to 15% reduced stroke risk thanks to enhanced infrared reflection from the greenery, the trees. It's amazing. Seholt's bottom line: we're built for the outdoors. Ditch the fluorescence. Chase that daily dose for longevity's sake. But modern life conspires against us. Layers of clothing, indoor jobs, and screen time leave us starved for this free elixir. Reclaim a bit of outdoor time this fall. Your body will thank you. Vitamin D has its debates. No magic fix for cancer or heart issues, as big trials like VITAL show mixed results unless you're deficient. And what's enough in your blood? Some experts consider blood levels just above the deficient range, around 20 nanograms per milliliter, as adequate for basic needs, while others recommend aiming for the sufficient rate, 30 nanogram per liter or higher, to maximize benefits like stronger immunity and bone health. Sun exposure is a natural way to boost vitamin D levels, And while modernization helps minimize any risks like skin damage, the benefits far outweigh concerns for most people. Focus on balanced habits like short midday sessions. When supplementing, opt for D3 over D2 as it provides more sustained effects in the body. And that brings us back to the Surrey study from last month. Their review of trials found D2 supplements drop your natural D3 by a noticeable amount, the stuff your body prefers for fighting illness and building strength. It's like D2 crowding out the good guy during processing. Get a blood test, talk to your doctor before tweaking. Consult a healthcare provider for personalized testing and advice. As for overdose scares like nausea or kidney trouble from too much calcium, those are rare and overhyped. The safe upper limit 4,000 IU, but experts now say 10,000 IU daily is fine for most healthy people long term, with real toxicity needing way higher doses over time. A 2024 review in Endocrine Reviews backs this. The risk of too little far outweighs too much for folks without kidney problems. Don't fear generous doses to catch up. They're a smart move. Picture someone grabbing D2 for energy, only to feel off. Now science points the way to better choices. Looking forward, vitamin D research is heating up. Vital follow ups hint D3 might slow aging by protecting cell tips or these telomeres, and brain scans tied low levels to shrinkage. Supplements could help fend off memory loss. Personalized plans are coming. Doses over 5,000 IU for conditions like MS are showing real mood and energy lifts. Since 2021, studies have exploded on weight control and virus defense. Better tests and longer trials will sort the high dose details soon. Imagine doctors prescribing personal sunlight equivalent treatments tailored to your unique genetics for optimal vitamin D and infrared benefits, making cutting edge health strategies smarter and more accessible for everyone, regardless of where you live, your skin type, or your access to natural sunlight. As we wrap up, prioritizing vitamin D can unlock a cascade of healthier habits. Sunlight serves as the essential catalyst for its production. UVB rays interact with cholesterol like compound in your skin cells, quickly converting it into D3, the most effective form of vitamin D. It's like providing the spark to ignite a fire, turning the sun into your body's built in factory for this vital nutrient with just a few minutes of midday exposure. And beyond that, sunlight syncs your circadian rhythm for deeper, more restorative sleep. Pairing vitamin D with omega 3 fatty acids further amplifies heart health benefits, as shown in the VITAL trial. Remember, finally, that vitamin D shortages often go hand in hand with deficiencies in B12 or magnesium. A comprehensive blood panel is the best way to check the full picture. Thank you so much for listening, and please like and subscribe so we can grow. Very much appreciated. Till the next time, goodbye, everyone.